Hello everyone, this is Ming. In this video, I'm going to walk through how to create a Databricks Community Edition account as well as get familiar with the user interface. First, in Google, let's search for Databricks Community Edition. Then, on the first non-advertisement link, actually the second one here, try Databricks. Click on that one. Then there are two versions, and we're going to apply for the community edition. That is for students and educational institutions, kind of like that's for everybody in the room. We're going to learn how to create a Spark system and in the cloud environment. Let's click Get Started. It is going to ask some personal information, your name, your company, your email, and there's some information that is needed, and you're not required to put in your work email. You can use whatever email you want, and then sign up. Once you fill in all the information and click sign up, you're going to receive an email that you put into this work email box, and check your email and click the link to activate the account. Once the account is activated, and now we're all ready to go. Now let's go back to Google and then type in Databricks Community Edition, and then the first non-advertisement link is actually the login page. Click on that, and then this is the login page. So use the email address that you used during the setup and the password you set up during the setup stage. So basically, that is the interface for the cloud environment for Databricks. And there are a few different kind of parts. On the left, there are some icons, and you can click into each different part, and I'm going to go through some of the details there. In the main page, that is actually once you click on the Databricks icon on the top left, is going to show this page. So there are some common tasks like new notebooks, create tables, and new clusters. And those are shortcuts, and all those functions can be found from the left. So one of the first tasks is actually to create a computing cluster, a computing environment. To do that, on the menu on the left, click on the cluster icon right here. After you click it, there is the option of create clusters. Click on that button. It is going to show a new cluster creation stage. So you can name your cluster whatever you want. Let's use test01. And then let's keep the runtime version of the environment. Like what is the version of the Scala, what's the version of the Spark, etc. And also let's keep the default Python version 3. And this is basically the computing environment we're going to get. It is going to have 6 GB of memory and some computation power. It is fully functional Spark cluster with Spark, Scala, and Python, and R, and SQL all possible. Now let's create the cluster. It is going to take 1 or 2 minutes. before the cluster is created. And we can see the status is pending, and the cluster test01 is being created right now. Even though it is a very small computing environment, but in actual applications, users is going to do the same kind of operation. And the difference is the operation is going to create a cluster with probably a dozen or even a few hundred nodes with very powerful computing environment as well as GPU possibilities. Now this cluster is ready and test01, the status is running, and now we can actually create notebook and run those notebook in this test cluster. To create a notebook, we can go to Home, and those are the notebooks that I have already created. But we can definitely create a new one. In this workspace, under the username here, you can right-click, and then it's going to show a menu of Create. We can create a folder, we can create a notebook, we can even create a library. Let's create a notebook. The name of the notebook, you can name your notebook whatever you want, and the language is the default language for that particular notebook. The default language can be Python, can be R, can be Scala, or SQL. We can look at all the possibilities. Let's use R for the default language. And the cluster, that is the cluster that is this notebook is going to be running. And there we only have one cluster, the test01 we just created. Now let's create this new notebook. All right, this is a R notebook by default, and we can actually create a vector and then print out a square. So as you can see, it is running for this notebook. The default language is R, and we can run all the R functions and scripts we want. But in addition to this, the default R language, we can actually run different languages as well. So let's create another cell. To create another cell is very convenient. We put on the mouse in the middle of this screen is going to show this plus sign here, and we can actually create a new cell. For example, we want to create a Markdown cell, which is basically tell the notebook everything I'm written here is going to be a text, pure text, not running scripts. We can have some format like bullet points, etc., and headers, all different kind of level headers. And then once we put in all this Markdown cell, we click on the Control Enter. Is actually going to run the cell to show the pure text, bullet point, headers, etc. And then we can also create a Python cell. Basically, using the percentage Python is going to indicate this is going to be a Python environment. We can also create a cell to run SQL or Scala. So it is very convenient that we do have the flexibility in the same notebook to run R, Python, SQL, and a Scala, as well as a Markdown Cell. So this is actually a very convenient way to organize data science related project such that we have the reproducibility, the data, the code, the output, and also the text reporting all in one place. So basically, this is how we're going to have a cloud environment set up and how to create a notebook to run on top of that. That is the end for this video.